He's alone now. Kody Brown, once the head of a bustling, plural family, sits in a cold, silent RV parked on Coyote Pass, the land he obsessed over for years. No laughter, no bustling family dinners, no wives waiting with open arms. Just one man, surrounded by empty promises, dusty blueprints, and the wreckage of what used to be a family dream. How did we get here? How did the vision of togetherness and unity turn into spreadsheets, secrets, and betrayal? This wasn't some sudden explosion, it was slow, painfully slow. A series of choices masked as leadership, a pattern of favoritism disguised as love, and behind all of it, a quiet storm brewing inside a house where some voices were elevated while others were quietly erased. The truth is, this collapse didn't start with a big scandal. It started with small betrayals, emotional manipulation, financial decisions made in the dark, a fourth wife brought in under the banner of love only to become the center of a separate, secret life with Kody. While the other wives were left behind, emotionally starved, financially strained, and spiritually shut out. Hi, friends. Welcome back. I'm Oliva, and this is TLC's Sister Wives Secret. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe because we're exposing the real truth behind what went wrong in this family, based only on what we've seen with our own eyes in the show. And if you've been watching Sister Wives from the beginning, I want to know your thoughts in the comments. When do you think the breaking point really started? Was it the favoritism, the money, or something deeper? Because what we're about to explore is how a family built on shared faith and shared love slowly crumbled, wife by wife, lie by lie. There was a time when the Brown family was sold to us and maybe even to themselves as something extraordinary. Cody stood at the center, a man with four wives: Meri, Janelle, Christine, and later, Robyn. They weren't just spouses, they were meant to be a team, a support system, a sisterhood, a unit. They shared parenting duties, built homes near one another, and told the cameras that their lifestyle was rooted in faith, equality, and love. It was chaotic, sure, but it was also warm. For a while at least, it looked like it worked. But the cracks started to form long before the final fallout. Meri was Cody's first wife, the one who helped him build this plural marriage, but she struggled with infertility, something that left her feeling alone even in a full house. And when the catfishing scandal broke in 2015, it changed everything. Meri, emotionally neglected, had reached out to someone she thought could fill that void, and Kody never forgave her. Not really. That moment was quietly pivotal. It gave him an excuse to emotionally disengage while still keeping up appearances. And then there was Robyn. She entered the family as wife number 4, but she quickly became something else entirely. Cody's affection for her was different, noticeably different. The way he looked at her, prioritized her, deferred to her, it was as if the balance of the entire family shifted the day she walked in. While the other wives were asked to sacrifice, Robyn seemed to be protected. Slowly, she and Kody became their own unit inside what was supposed to be a plural marriage. The family started drifting, and it wasn't just emotional, it was visible. Houses built farther apart, conversations held in private, decisions made without group consensus. The dream of equality was fading, and no one was ready to admit it out loud. Not yet. While the family preached unity and shared values, behind the scenes, money was telling a different story, and it was loud. On screen, we started noticing the tension. Janelle was living in an RV on the land they were all supposed to be building on together, Coyote Pass. She was out there hauling water, using a generator, trying to make it work while Kody, her husband, was comfortably living in a fully furnished house with Robyn. The disparity wasn't just obvious, it was heartbreaking. And then came the spreadsheets. One by one, pieces of the truth started surfacing. Viewers watched in disbelief as Meri, calm but clearly exhausted, finally revealed what she'd been holding in for years. She sat across from a TLC producer and laid out the cold, hard numbers. Nearly $80,000 from the so-called household emergency account had been spent, not on shared needs, but on Robyn's private school tuition, cosmetic treatments, and even eyebrow microblading. Let that sink in. While Meri's bed and breakfast business was struggling and Kody told her it wasn't the right time to help, Robyn was getting her bills paid, no questions asked, It was Janelle who finally connected the dots publicly, sharing documents and transactions that exposed just how one-sided the support had become. The fund meant to protect the entire family had been used almost exclusively for Robyn's benefit. These weren't wild accusations, they were backed by receipts. Venmo logs, Zelle transfers, and even messages Kody couldn't deny. For fans who had believed in the dream, or at least respected the effort, it felt like a betrayal. The image of a united family working toward a shared future was shattered. Watching Janelle sleep in a cramped RV while Robyn relaxed in a six-bedroom mansion wasn't just uncomfortable, it felt wrong. And now, the truth was out. It was like a dam finally broke. For years, Meri had stayed silent, loyal, measured, even when she was being sidelined. But this time, during a one-on-one with producers, she came prepared. Sitting in a dim cabin, fire crackling softly behind her, Meri reached into her bag and pulled out a folder. Not just a few documents, this was everything. Zelle transfers, Venmo messages, printouts of every withdrawal from the family's shared fund. This is the evidence, she said. Every single transaction, all marked as household emergency. But somehow, it always went to Robyn. Christine's response when she saw it was instant. "This is repulsive," she said, looking stunned, hurt, and furious all at once. She had long suspected favoritism, but this was proof. Janelle, ever the level-headed one, simply said, "Set it on fire." The silent patience these women had kept for so long was gone. What replaced it was a fire, a need to reclaim their stories, their truth, and their dignity. But the most unsettling part? Robyn didn't seem shocked by any of it. When Kody confronted her about the secret bank accounts, about what the others now knew, she barely flinched. "I said what I had to," she replied coldly. And that coldness, that detachment, it told the other wives everything they needed to know. She had known. She had let it happen. Kody, caught in the middle of this unraveling, was spiraling. He accused Robyn of throwing him under the bus, but she wasn't covering for him anymore. "Your bed was made by you," she said. "I just stopped cleaning it up." And there it was. The truth laid bare. The trust was gone. The women who had once tiptoed around Kody's moods, who tried to keep the peace, were done. The silence had turned into strength, and the fallout was just beginning. It was the moment fans never thought they'd see. Robyn seated alone, tear-streaked, her voice trembling. Not from grief, but fear. Not from love, but loss. "I lied to keep us safe," she finally admitted in a one-on-one. And for a second, you could almost believe she meant it, but then came the pause. The same pause we've seen her take before. The carefully chosen words, the blame tucked between the syllables. And just like that, the impact? Gone. For years, Robyn had played the part, the peacemaker, the victim, the misunderstood fourth wife. But by the time she admitted what fans had suspected for seasons, it was too late. Christine had already packed her bags and moved on with joy. Janelle had drawn up legal papers and was openly discussing her next chapter. Even Meri, once the quiet one, was no longer asking for Kody's attention. She was reclaiming her power, bit by bit. Robyn's confession felt like trying to put out a wildfire with a teacup of water. The damage was already scorched into every corner of their so-called family. The women didn't need her confession. They had facts. They had freedom. And they had each other now. Kody, though, he was unraveling in real time. The cracks were showing not just in his relationships, but in his very identity. He wasn't the patriarch anymore. He wasn't the provider. He was a man gutted by grief, especially after the heartbreaking death of his son with Robyn. That loss shook him, and for a moment, the bravado fell away. He sat in silence, shoulders hunched, staring at nothing. The weight of his choices was finally settling in. But it wasn't clarity that came next. It was rage, confusion, and a man finally realizing that control was never love, and favoritism was never family. The final chapters didn't come with a bang. They came with quiet resolve. Janelle and Meri sat down, not as co-wives, but as women reclaiming control over their own lives. In hushed tones, they talked about legal steps, shared assets, and finally drawing boundaries. No more vague promises. No more waiting on Cody to come around. It wasn't about revenge, it was about restoration. Christine, now emotionally free and visibly lighter, didn't need the paperwork. She'd already done the emotional lifting, but she was there, in full support. She offered validation, not just for Janelle and Meri, but for every woman watching who had ever stayed too long, hoping things would change. And Cody? He was exactly where his decisions had led him, alone. In that RV on Coyote Pass, the land he once dreamed would unite them, surrounded by open space but without anyone left to fill it. He owned the land, sure, but the family? That was gone. What's left now is not a fractured family, but a new formation. One built on truth, healing, and the kind of strength that doesn't ask permission. This isn't a story about Cody anymore. It's about the women rising, the truth tellers, the ones finally writing their own ending, on their terms. Thanks so much for watching, friends. This story isn't just about a broken family. It's about what happens when loyalty is weaponized, when silence becomes survival, and when truth finally finds its voice. Watching these women reclaim their power after years of emotional and financial manipulation, it's heavy, it's painful, but it's also incredibly real. I want to know what you think. Do you believe Robyn truly regrets any of it? Or was her confession just a last-ditch effort to protect herself when there was nothing left to lose? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. I'm Oliva, and this is TLC's Sister Wives Secret, where we speak the truths the cameras couldn't hide forever.